Prime Minister, this morning when you approached President Trump before the meeting, did you apologize to him for your remarks last night at Buckingham Palace? And if so, what was his response?
We had a great meeting yesterday between me and the President. We talked about the kinds of things that really matter to Canadians, whether it's how we've been moving forward on NATO, whether the progress being made and NAFTA is going to continue, which we're confident it will. We talked about the challenges of China, and we also talked about a few things. Last night I made a reference to the fact that there was an unscheduled press conference before my meeting with President Trump, and I was happy to take part of it, but it was certainly notable. And I've had a number of good conversations with the President over the course of this day and yesterday.
You'll be in double digits for press conferences.
Oh,
it's crazy.
And then you know what they'll say? He didn't do a press conference. He didn't do a press conference. That was funny when I said the guy's two-faced. You know what I know. They're going.
So earlier today, I posted a video about Trump and Trudeau, about the comments Trudeau made regarding Trump in the press conference and how that made them late, and how Donald Trump, in response, called Justin Trudeau two-faced. And of course, that didn't look good for Trump especially. Even some people thought Justin Trudeau came off looking poorly. But the response afterward from both leaders has been quite interesting. First clip I showed you off the top was Justin Trudeau responding when people asked him, should he apologize, would he apologize? And basically, he said no without saying no by reiterating that they had a productive meeting and that he continues to want to work with Trump on common issues going forward. A very diplomatic way of saying, no, I'm not going to apologize. But lest you think Trump was truly hurt by all this, the following clip I played, which is just some audio, shows Trump acknowledging that he was trying to get a rise out of people by saying, wasn't it funny when I called the guy two-faced? Wasn't it funny when I called Justin Trudeau two-faced? Showing that Trump, sort of knew what he was doing, knew he was trying to create a scene, knew he was trying to create a media rift, and in many ways he succeeded because we're still talking about this right now. Many of the media sources, social media sources, are still focused on what did Trudeau say? What did Trump say in response? Will either of them apologize to the other? And on and on and on. And as I noted in that first video, this is really interesting because it obscures the reality that Trump and Trudeau work so well together on many issues because fundamentally they're aligned. They're aligned on the broadest ideological questions, even if they disagree on some of the specifics. And that's not something Trudeau supporters want to hear because they don't like Trump. And that's something that Trump supporters don't want to hear because they don't like Trudeau. But it's true. It's true, as I noted earlier, on foreign policy and even on some domestic policy issues, Trudeau and Trump are allies against largely the real left, against leftist voices as represented by Bernie Sanders in the United States and Jagmeet Singh in Canada. Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump are allies. And I think this goes to show again how these media cycles can be over-exaggerated. Here you have Trudeau making a comment that was perhaps inelegant given the context of where he was, but really didn't say anything that offensive. I think what he was trying to say was, we were late, it was a 40-minute thing, it shouldn't have been, even his staff was surprised. And I think Trudeau was saying that, world leaders, including Trump, but other world leaders as well, can sometimes go on tangents and do things that leave everyone bewildered, even their closest staff. And then Trump blows it way out of proportion with the two-faced comments. And we all thought that that was necessarily Trump being, purely rash. But Donald Trump, despite the fact that he's unstable, and despite the fact that he lacks nuance, Donald Trump has a certain understanding of how the media works. And I think Donald Trump, maybe on a day where there's, continuing impeachment talks, maybe on a day where, domestic news for him isn't that great, it's better for us to be talking about him calling someone two-faced than talking about, his pending impeachment trial. And maybe he thought, getting a rise out of Trudeau, getting a rise out of the international media for making those remarks, getting a rise out of the media for leaving the NATO summit early was a better investment of political, attention than what's happening at home. And it makes sense. Look, Justin Trudeau is trending Canada-wide. And in much of the American media, Justin Trudeau is sucking up a lot of the oxygen as well. What was said, will Trudeau apologize? Who's hurt? Whose feelings are legitimately hurt? Who is actually just playing it up? And we're not talking as much as we would be about the issues that are directly affecting Trump and his personal survivability as president of the United States. So let's keep all of this in mind. I'm not saying this was purely choreographed by Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. I'm not suggesting that Trudeau and Trump were like, let's make each other look bad because for our respective bases, looking like enemies is a good thing. Liberals in Canada like when I call out Trump. Republicans in America like when I call out Trudeau. It looks good on either side, so let's, ham it up for the cameras. I'm not necessarily suggesting that. But I do think both men, in a sense, realize that despite the fact that this was, organic, Justin Trudeau likely didn't mean to be heard on the cameras, that there are political opportunities for both men to play up the fact that they disagree, when really, behind closed doors, on the biggest issues, they're actually allies relative to the left in each other's countries. That's something we can't lose attention of during these sorts of moments.